sunny and a little blustery Wednesday afternoon. It's Three Guys Who Love Sports here at Miller's, and I'm here with my usual co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney. Everybody put your hands together for Robert. And our guest today is Mr. Alan McCurry. Alan, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me here.
Happy to have you here. We're going to loosen up, have a good time. This show is to help bring some relief to guys that are suffering through cancer, prostate cancer, whatever type it might be, and to help them get away from it for an hour and talk about something other than worried about their issues. And we're happy to have you and your opinions. If you want to text us at 470-7-SPORTS, that's 470-7-SPORTS. We'd be loving to have you here. So welcome to the show. And as usual, we're going to start off talking about some baseball, World Series. Now tell me this, Robert, why do they not start the World Series like on a Tuesday? Because they don't have it on Tuesday. They don't have it on Wednesday. They wait till Thursday when football cranks back up.
Well, you know, the idea is that they figured nobody's going to go through it at the same pace, so they build in a few extra days because they figure somebody's going to go game 6, maybe a game 7. But then when both series end the way they do, you know, what are you going to do now? Except for wait for a week.
Oh, wait for a day. The first game's tomorrow, right? And so
I was actually thinking it was Friday. Is it tomorrow?
Is it tomorrow? ATI? Let us know. I think it's tomorrow. Might be Friday. Because, 7th games would have been Wednesday. Would have been tonight, right?
Correct. So I think it's Friday, but, you know, that's 5 straight days off.
That's horrible. I understand they got to make plans, but that's ridiculous. So the Phillies won in 5 games. The Astros eliminated the Yankees, who were my pick, in 4 games. It is Friday. Thanks, ATI. So who do you think's going to win? I mean, Astros just blew away the Yankees. They couldn't hit anything. The Yankees couldn't. So Verlander and the pitching from the Astros is pretty strong. Bats from Philadelphia pretty strong. Is it the first third-place team that has ever made the playoffs? Because they came in third in their division out of 4 teams, right? And they made the World Series.
Technically, I bet there's been a couple wild card matchups with a second and third place team from their own division, but going this far, you know, they're a 6 seed. There's never been a 6 seed until this year.
Ever. So they're the first 6 seed ever.
They're the first 6
so
seed.
So the lowest ranked team, 87 wins, is that what they had?
That's
they
correct.
said the Braves won last year, and they had 88 wins last year, and they came back and won. So maybe the Phillies are this year's darlings. I don't know. Not Ron Darling, just baseball's darling.
Well, you know, one of the things, and you know, everybody will second guess, oh, the Braves had too much time off, and that's why this happened. Nobody knows. Some teams do it, some teams don't. But the thing that we've been giving the Philadelphia Phillies credit for was being out there and playing constantly and everything. Well, that's gone now.
Yeah.
5 days off, and now you're going to go up against the Astros, which, just for the record, if you're keeping track at home, the Astros have been in 6 straight ALCSs. This is their 4th World Series in the last 6 years, and they have the best pitcher in the world who's going to go game 1.
And probably game 5. Or maybe game 4, and if necessary, game 7.
And see, that's where I would lead it because you know, he's older. You know, you're not saving Verlander for this or that, and Verlander knows that. Verlander would love a Bumgardner opportunity where he could come out and pitch in 4 or 5 different games.
Yeah, that would be true. But the Phillies have come on strong. They were 23-29 June 1st when they fired their manager. And, man, they have turned it around and played some good baseball. I think Bryce Harper's home run, bottom of the 8th the other night, was pretty stinking clutch. Why do you even pitch to him with an open base? Why do you pitch to him and even let him have a chance to beat you?
You don't. You know, I mean, he's the one person when you look at that lineup, you say, okay, we're not going to let this guy beat us. You know, this guy's been the greatest baseball player since he was in college, before he was drafted, and going through every you know, let's make baseball fun again and all that other good stuff. You can't let him beat you. But the Phillies have been really good for a while. But one thing I would like to point out, because a lot of people are saying, you know, they're the underdog and they're this and they're that. 4th highest payroll in baseball. So
Phillies?
This is
wow.
The Phillies, you know, the Phillies have gone out and have bought as many players as they possibly can, and they're where they're supposed to be as far as that goes. Just for the record, Astros are the 10th highest payroll.
And where are the Braves in that? They've got to be, with all the money. Well, for this year, they may not be as high. But next year, they've got to be in the top 2 or 3, I would think.
No, because we're still spending. You know, we've got more guaranteed money going out because we've signed everybody to 8 and 10-year contracts. But most of the contracts are a little bit lower. You know, you start getting into the Angels and the Yankees. You know, these teams are just dumping money like it's going out. Dodgers, are you kidding me?
Dodgers paying a lot of money, yeah.
I said that the Dodgers' first 3 batters get paid $70.5 million a season.
That's a pretty good year.
That for their first 3.
First 3 batters, yeah. It's not bad at all. Alan, what's your take on baseball? You a baseball fan?
I'm a marginal baseball fan.
So you pull for the Marginals?
Yeah, the Marginals every time.
Yeah.
No, it's just one of those things where, I just think the Astros this is their year. I think that, Braves had it last year and they took it, and I think the Astros are just going to come back and say, this is ours for the taking.
Astros is a pretty strong club. If they can't cheat their way through, they might can win one.
Well, and I love to point out that they're a bunch of stinking cheaters down there. They're just for sure. I like to lead that attack. At the same time, 6 ALCSs in a row, 4 World Series. You know that they're not getting back.
They're not creeping up like the Braves and the Phillies did.
Well, but we know we caught them cheating 3 years ago. They've still been to 2 more World Series since then. So
is that how long it's been? 3 years since the cheating scandal? Wow.
3 years since they got busted.
Since they got busted.
Which was the year after they actually won.
All right. So Alan said he's taking the Astros. I got to take a flyer. I got to take the Flyers, Philly Flyers. That'd be funny. Huh? I got to take the Flyers. No pun intended. I got to take the Phillies. I think the Phillies are going to do something different. I think they're going to. I think they're going to get home after a split, start in Houston, right? 1-1 and win 2 at home, and then take 1 on the road. So I'm going to say the Phillies in 6, just because I like them.
Yeah, I'm just debating whether it's Stros in 4 or 5.
That's all you're saying?
That's the only thing I'm wondering, and I'll go 4 since they haven't lost. I think it'll actually be 5, but
they haven't lost in the postseason
They have not lost this postseason. So
and the Phillies have only lost 1.
Phillies have looked great. No, Phillies lost 1 to the Braves, 1 to the Padres.
Oh, that's right. They lost 2. But wasn't that a fun place to watch a game? I mean, those fans were nuts. Phillies hadn't been in the playoffs since 2009, and
bottled up energy.
The Eagles are 6-0, and
absolutely,
man, Philly's going nuts, and that's a crazy town anyway. But the way they're winning now, it's a pretty strong deal for the Phillies. So I'm going to write down our picks here. Alan, how many games is it going to take Houston to win it?
It's going to take all 7.
Alan says Astros in 7. Robert says Stros.
Put me down for 5.
Stros in 5, and Chuck says Phillies in 6.
I'm going Verlander wins 1 and 5. The only reason why he doesn't pitch 4 is because they're up 3-0, and they figure, well, we'll just hold on.
And Verlander's going to get the MVP too, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's Verlander.
I always like it when somebody comes out of the blue and wins the world, wins the MVP,
which is what usually happens.
Like Castellanos or something, or Segura for the Phillies. It could be wild. It could be a fun game. Last maximum of 7 games with smaller bases, with the shift, and no time clock on the pitching. So I'm really looking forward to see what next year looks like in Major League Baseball.
It'll look a lot different. You know, when you think about the nets going all the way down the sides of the field a couple of years ago, and now the clock and the bigger bases. You know, if you were Tom Hanks and on a deserted island for 5 years and came back, you might not recognize the nation's pastime.
You might not recognize the nation's pastime. That's right. So before we go to our first commercial with Miller's, maybe, Robert, you said something else you wanted to bring up before our break?
I just want to say Hawks are looking good. I know it's early for basketball season, but we went out and we spent a lot of money to bring somebody in here. And,
Are they 3-1? Is that right?
2-1 playing
2-1
tonight.
Playing tonight. That's right.
But I just love the optimism coming out of that building right now. It's a very good team. We saw how good they could be a couple of years ago. Last year, it was very underachieving, but I think we've got a few of the right parts in and a couple of the wrong parts out.
Yeah, that would be the case. I'm not a huge NBA fan, but I'm going to watch some this year and try to get more excited about our hometown Hawks. I used to love them when it was Pistol Pete and Dominique and Tree Rollins, Spud Webb.
Dan Roundfield.
Or is it Roundfield?
Dan Roundfield.
Yeah, I was in Roundtree. That was Richard Roundtree. I get them confused, yeah. So that's pretty cool. Larry, have we got anybody from Miller's that we can get? Huh? Wait till Bailey gets back. So what time are we? So let's go ahead and do another one of the other commercials, Robert.
Which one would you
Let's do Bearcat.
Bearcat?
Oh, wait. Wait. Okay. Bearcat it is.
Bearcat, here we go. Click, click.
Click.
Larry is clicking away. Do you need a delivery and is in go now, please? Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car, van, or pickup. Whether it's from Memphis to Augusta, Atlanta to Athens, or Dothan to Charlotte, and all points in between, we've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 7-iron isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly, Bearcat Express, with their live tracking capabilities, is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast. Check us out at BearcatExpress.com.
Thank you, Blair Cook, for your sponsorships. And we will let you know that we would love to have you on Three Guys Who Love Sports. If you want to text in the number 1 to 470-7-SPORTS, 470-7-SPORTS. If you're listening to us on 91.1 FM, we're broadcasting live there. But we'd love to have you on the show and hear your opinion about sports. That's 470-7-SPORTS. Text the number 1. So let's move on to some college football. What a crazy and wacky weekend it was, right?
Always.
Always.
That's why we love college football.
That is why we love college football. I personally saw the worst football game I've ever attended in my life last Thursday night when Georgia Tech hosted Virginia.
And it was cold.
It was okay. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't warm, though.
No, it wasn't warm. It was low 50s, but I was at Green Bay when it was 14, so it wasn't bad. So just when I think the Jackets are going to turn the corner, I even said, they got a shot at making a bowl game. Only bowl they're going to make this year is the toilet bowl. So they are not good.
I was watching that game and rooting for you, Chuck. And, every time I got ready to turn it off, the defense or the special teams showed up. And it was like, maybe there's still a chance here. And then the offense took the field.
Well, we really wanted to leave, but they were within one score, so something might happen. We got to stick around. But nothing happened. It was the boringest football game I've ever been to in my life, and I've been to a lot of football games. But we got there a couple of minutes late, and as soon as we sat down, Tech throws an interception in the end zone, and then 2 plays later they have a pick six, and that was the last of the offense for Georgia Tech other than one field goal. So it was just not a pretty ball game at all.
And is Sims healthy?
No. They're catering to the new backup quarterback. I can't remember his name. He was not good. He couldn't even set up. He would go back to set up and just fall down. He couldn't even get his feet under him.
And in case you were wondering, don't if you're watching this and thinking, I wonder what a really horrible football game looks like. Maybe I should go. Don't watch the last play.
No. It was horrible.
When you're losing and you're down by a score, the only thing you want out of your quarterback is to close his eyes and throw it deep. Let's
Hail Mary, something.
See what happens.
Not a Reggie Ball, and let's run out of bounds.
He ran out of bounds.
Ran out of bounds.
It was the ball. It's like, how do you do that? I mean,
and it wasn't like Virginia was that good either. Virginia actually took a kickoff, and the guy kneeled down at the 2. He took it at the 5 because he thought he could get it back to the 25. But a kneel down is not a fair catch.
Correct.
So if you kneel at the 2, you're going to start at the 2. And we couldn't do anything with that. We blocked a punt and late in the 4th or midway through the 4th, and we're at the 30. And 3 plays later, we're back at the 45. So Tech could do nothing. I bet until the last drive, Tech didn't have positive yards in the second half. It was horrible. It was
bad.
horrible. It was just horrible. Can I say horrible one more time? It was horrible. All right, so let's go on some meaning football. The Pac-12. Oregon.
Wait, hold on. Stop. You just said stop and let's talk about meaningful football, and you went straight to Pac-12. I don't understand how this.
Please let me explain.
Okay.
So Oregon, Oregon and UCLA had a heck of a ball game last week. Now there is no undefeated team left in the Pac-12.
That's correct.
Is the Pac-12 out of the playoffs?
They should be, but no, they're not. There's 3 one-loss teams. If one of them limps out, it really depends on everything else. But they're really, really, really close to being out.
I think they're out. I just don't think there's enough there. There's 6 undefeated teams left in the league, right, or in the country.
Correct.
As Larry the engineer pointed out, Ohio State and Michigan will play. One of those will be gone. Georgia and Tennessee will play. One of those will be gone. So
That brings you to 4.
in 2 weeks, we may have only 4 undefeated teams left in college football.
In 2 weeks, we'll have no more than 4.
No more than 4. That's right.
We don't know. We don't know where that might be. But right now Oregon's 8, USC's 10, UCLA's 12. It's not looking good for any of them to make it. But obviously, somebody's got to win out. Somebody's got to lose. All the video of the Georgia game to start the season.
Yeah,
Oregon looks a lot better, don't they?
Oregon looks a little bit better when they lost 49-3 to Georgia, but do they look good enough? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, personally, I think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State. I don't think anybody's going to stop this Michigan ground game. And McCarthy is a decent passer. ATI says he's not a good passer at all, but he's decent.
Is it 1973? Nobody's going to stop this Michigan ground game.
Yeah, that's right. Well, but Corum, and I can't even remember the other guy's name, but two great running backs. And Ohio State has not faced that yet. They haven't faced a team that can match them on the line of scrimmage like the way Michigan can.
Which I know the Big Ten is the best conference, top to bottom.
Oh, God, here we go
in
again.
all of college football. But my point,
I've said that a few times.
But my point is going to be this: that they haven't seen anything, they haven't run into anything. So Penn State has not prepared Michigan for playing Ohio State, and Ohio State hasn't seen anything. So when these teams finally do wiggle down to one, they're still not going to be where Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee are, where I've seen it, I've played against it, and I understand how high the competition level is.
Well, we know that Michigan can lose big games, or even games that don't matter, like to App State. Allen's an App State grad, so
That's
Yeah,
good.
Very prideful.
yeah. So you didn't go to that game at Michigan, did you?
Yeah, I was there. I was actually at that game.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah.
Now that's a miracle game,
That's a great game.
especially to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the 50-yard line, and then my sons were with me. And at the end of the game, I took them to the top of the stadium and told them to close their eyes and smell the grass. As I said, you just witnessed history. Turned out to be true.
I would have gotten a piece of the grass and brought it home with me. That's the way I was. Like I did at Green. I brought something home from Green Bay. I brought me a hat home. I had to have something from Green Bay. It was cool. I love being a part of games like that. That's just not going to happen anymore. So if I had to pick 4 teams that were going to be in the playoffs now, because when did the BCS standings come out? Next week?
Next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday.
November 1st.
So we could talk about that next week.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that'll be
There's-
big show next week, yeah. So we can talk about that. If I had to put the top 4 in right now, and I saw somebody had Tennessee as the best football team right now, which might not be that far off.
You can say, well, they have won bigger, better games than anybody else this year.
I would agree with that. So I might not disagree with Tennessee being number 1. I think Tennessee would probably number 1. I think Michigan's really strong. I think they're stronger than they were last year. I would probably have to put Michigan at 2.
Ohio State 3, TCU 4. I say don't put any SEC schools in until you get to 6 or 7.
Really?
No.
Oh, you're saying me?
Yes, you.
No, I can't do that. I said Tennessee's 1, so how could They're SEC, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Okay, then how can I be that unbiased if I've already put?
I know, but
the
you already
two-
put Michigan 2. I don't know where this love affair with Captain Khaki comes from.
Captain Khaki, Mr. Harbaugh, is that who you're talking
Mr.
about?
Harbaugh.
Mr. Harbaugh. I love that. I don't want to put Clemson at 3. TCU may be 3. They've played some good ball clubs, and
So I have two different things for TCU and Clemson. TCU has 5 games remaining, none of them versus ranked opponents. But they do have to go to Morgantown this weekend, Austin, and Waco. So there is enough there with, a little bit of the. But then when it comes time for Clemson, Clemson's got a bye this week. They go to Notre Dame, and then they're at home for their final 3, and it's the Hurricanes, Louisville. I said it correctly, Louisville. And then at home versus South Carolina. So when you look at those two schedules, who's beating one of these teams?
Nobody. I don't think so. I think TCU is going to wind up undefeated. I think Clemson is going to wind up undefeated. Ohio State or Michigan, one of them is going to wind up undefeated. And somebody in the SEC is going to wind up undefeated. So I don't see any one-loss teams getting into the playoffs this year. You cannot leave off a no-win TCU. Sure as heck not going to leave out a no-loss win, no-loss Clemson, or a no-loss TCU.
And I'm not going to argue on this particular Wednesday with you on that subject, but I will say this: Clemson, out of all these teams, looks the worst.
I would agree with that.
They are dead man walking. I mean, this team is trying to invent new ways to score 20 points. I might not be happy with TCU, but at least they're going to score 6 or 7 touchdowns every time they hit the field.
Yeah, and Duggan's not a bad quarterback. I like watching him play. He's exciting to watch. My Kansas team that started out 5-0 is now 5-3 without their starter. I'm not hanging my head.
You're not jumping ship.
No, I'm not jumping ship. I still got a shot. All I got to do is win one more and win a bowl game, and I win my bet with Steve of Kansas winding up over 500. And I think they'll eke one out somewhere here in the near future. So
Probably.
yeah. So I still feel good about my bet. I just if I had to pick the 4 playoffs teams right now, I would say Michigan, Clemson, Tennessee, and TCU.
Yeah, I mean,
Write that down, ATI. Chuck said on October 26th, Clemson, Tennessee, TCU,
and then cross
and
it out
Michigan.
and put. Chuck said this on October 27th, and then wait, Chuck.
No.
Chuck thought
No,
this
no,
by
no.
the 30th.
But that isn't what you were supposed to do as a sports broadcaster, if that's what we are, right?
Absolutely.
You had
Roll with the changes. Roll
you-
with the changes.
You had the Braves winning the World Series, and now you got the Astros. So am I not allowed to change too?
I'm a homer. I pick KSU. I pick Braves. I pick against the Falcons only because the Falcons win usually. When
Go
that
Owls. I actually got asked to go to the Falcons game this weekend, but I'm committed to go see KSU play Georgia Tech in baseball. Sunday.
I got asked if I could try out for the secondary for the Falcons this week.
Anybody can. Well, we'll get to that when we get to the Pro
Anybody
Bowl.
with a Dion jersey, please show up.
With the Dion jersey, show
He's
up.
already got a uniform. Just let him run. See what he can do.
All right. Well, I guess, Alan, who would you pick for your Final Four right now in football?
Boy, I think I'd contradict you guys completely.
That's all right. That's what the show's about.
Yeah, but I might agree a little bit with some of it, but I'll say Georgia's there. They get Tennessee. I just think they're stronger on defense. Yeah, I knew you'd say that.
That's okay.
I'd take Ohio. I would
Ohio
put
State?
Ohio in there. Yeah, definitely. And I don't know about the TCUs, honestly. To me, they came out of nowhere.
The Horned Frogs.
Yeah, and so after that, I honestly don't know. I mean,
I like purple. Clemson, you got to get Clemson.
I think Clemson's. I'm sorry, Clemson's not there.
If they
I
go
just don't-
undefeated, they got to be there.
That's the whole thing. Because they won 2 national titles in the last 5 years, you're giving them the Nick Saban benefit of the doubt. Going, wow, Dabo's undefeated, but this undefeated Dabo team
To me,
looks
the
bad.
first half I watched last week was not a national championship team.
They're not.
No, they're not. That's what I'm
And
saying.
they may make it.
And then
because
they
of the
benched their
ACC.
quarterback, won the game, and then as soon as the game was over, they said, he's our quarterback again.
Oh, yeah.
TJ's back.
He had a bad day. That's
But-
what he was. The
But it's
coach kept
nice to have
saying.
the backup that played decent. I mean, came in through a couple of touchdown passes.
He didn't have a great game, did he?
The backup,
Yeah.
he led them to a win. So it can't be a bad game. All right, Robert, give me your 4.
I'm just in no particular order. Ohio State will beat Michigan, so they're part of the Final Four. Michigan in that vaunted Big Blue running game will not last.
He laughs at me, ATI. Tell him Corum's the real deal. No?
I'm going Georgia.
Jeez. No. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to go Clemson.
Yeah.
Just because the committee's going to put them in. They're not going to be. It's going to be an old-fashioned stomping when they get there. And then I'm going with a second SEC team.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. And you know who it's going to be?
Alabama.
No, it's going to actually be Tennessee.
They're not going to be 2 teams from the East.
Well, this is how it happens.
Okay.
Georgia beats Tennessee, goes on to the SEC championship game, and beats Alabama. So when Alabama loses that game, that's a 2-loss Alabama team and only a 1-loss Tennessee game that's sitting on the sideline. You're inviting them to the show.
No, I'm sorry. Nobody that plays for their conference, doesn't play for their conference championship,
And-
deserves to
hey,
go to the playoffs.
And just for the record, as long as we're making these predictions, I'm going to give you the order. It'll be Georgia versus Clemson in the first round and Ohio State versus Tennessee. That's going to be a
Wow.
barn burner of a game. Take the over already. I don't care what Vegas says. Take the over.
Take the over of Ohio State and
They are going to
Tennessee.
be scoring for weeks after that
Between
game.
Hooker and Stroud, they might put up 100 each.
Absolutely.
That could be
Absolutely.
that would be a fun game to watch. I'll admit
It
that.
would be.
All right. I guess we need to get on and make our college picks for the week. So let's get on to do that before we get to our next commercial break. So this week's pick we have, and I didn't write mine down this week because I wanted to discuss them before I wrote them down because a couple of them I hadn't made my mind up yet. So Ohio State minus 15 at Penn State. Let's say it's a whiteout at Penn State. I don't know if it is or not.
It was
but-
last week.
Yeah,
I don't think,
I don't
they'll
think they do more than one in a year,
I-
yeah.
Well, they might do more, but not back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. So Ohio State minus Penn State, minus 15 at Penn State. Alan, who you got?
I got Ohio State.
So you think they're going to cover the 15? All right. You know what? After watching Penn State at Michigan, they didn't look that strong. What's his name? Sean Clifford, the quarterback at Penn State. It seems like he's hurt or having a bad game every time I turn around. I think I'm going to go with the Buckeyes and take them laying the points. Robert?
Do you want me to give all my picks at once?
No,
Okay. I'll go Ohio State.
Ohio State. What are you going to say? Just choose for Chuck? Nope. All right, I'll go first. So you won't
Oh,
feel
no,
like
no,
you feel like I'm copying you or something?
No, mine's really simple the way I.
Okay. And of course, and we will talk about this real quick. Should the Florida Georgia game be a home and home as opposed to playing in a neutral field every year?
What do you think?
I think it should be a 3 rotation: home, and then Jacksonville.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
I love that because it throws everybody else's calendar. You know, it's not we're going to play every 2 years. No, it's going to be every third year because everything's going to get thrown out of whack. I'd love something like that. Kirby's really pushing for it, but I bet it doesn't happen.
I bet it stays the great outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville, although they don't let them do that anymore.
It's not allowed to be called that anymore.
It's not allowed to be called that, but you know what? I'm calling
They're
it
still
that.
all
It's a-
hammered. They're still all there.
Chip, what are you talking about over there? No, we're good, thanks. Chip, who's your team? Not while I'm not on the air. There's no telling what I'll say. Who's your football team, Chip? You. Who's your football team? Who? The Owls, of course. Oh, the Owls. Look at my Owl shirt on. Yeah. Yeah, all right, cool. We do another show at 7 all about KSU sports. Yeah. What did he say? I can't hear.
I can't hear anything. We have
He
headphones
said
on.
he pulls for the Dogs until the Florida-Georgia game, and then he pulls for the Gators.
Go Gators. Me and Chip are on the same page. All right, so Georgia's giving up 22 and a half at Jacksonville. I think that's way too much for a not a competitive game. What do you call it?
Rivalry game.
A rivalry game like that happens every year. I'm with Robert. I think it's going to stay in Jacksonville forever. Bailey, do this much
For her next trick.
So I'm going to take the Gators in the 22 and a half. U of F. Robert?
Georgia.
UGA. Alan?
Georgia.
Oh, God. All right, Chip, me and you are on the same page, buddy. Kentucky plus 12.5 at Tennessee. Quarterback's back from Kentucky now, right? What's his name? Javis or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, pretty good quarterback. But I don't think he's going to be good enough to get within 12.5 of Tennessee. I'll take the Vols.
Throw the curveball here. It's going to be Kentucky. They're going to beat the spread on that.
Are they going to win the game or just cover?
They're going to cover.
All right, so
I
Alan's taking
think
Kentucky plus 12.5.
I think Tennessee's going to have a letdown weekend. They may still win, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold the 8-game unicorn passion they got.
You know, I tell you, I know this one sets up to be a trap game with Georgia next week, but if there's one thing that can never be a trap, it's Kentucky, Tennessee, because that's all these two teams worry about. So I'm going Tennessee.
All right, Robert with the Vols. All right, Southern Cal, one of the aforementioned Pac-12 unrelated teams at Arizona. I'm not sure why you chose this game, so I'm going to let you go first.
I'll tell you as soon as we're done picking. That's why I asked if you wanted me to do all my picks at once.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go USC.
I'm going to go USC as well. Alan?
USC.
It's the Trojans across the board. That's never good, is it, when we all three take the same one? It
It's
always
not
winds
good
up
when
the
you
other
say
way.
it out loud like that.
Yeah, that's the same way on game day. It always comes out the other way, right? All right, and the last one, Oregon minus 17.5 at Cal.
Whack.
Oh, why did you choose that game, by the way? Or did you want to wait?
Oh, I took the 5 biggest spreads for top 25 teams, and I took all of the favorites.
Oh, did you?
I did.
All right, so that means you're taking Oregon.
Whack.
Yep. I'm going to take the band at Cal to run out on the field and stop the last play. That was against Stanford, though, right? Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And when they're down by 30, I don't know if the final play is going to matter that much.
All right, Alan. How about you?
I'll stick with Oregon. I think they're coming back. They're doing it right.
Yeah, I picked the college games this week. We switch each week on who picks pro and who picks college. I just went with the 5 biggest spreads, and when you look at them, yes, you can say Florida's the rivalry game and everything else, but there's 4 teams, truly 5 when you include Georgia. These are just better football teams than the people they're playing.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, let's get on to our second break. Do we have a Miller's or do we go on to Larry? Do we have Miller's or do we go on? So, have you ever been down to the Georgia-Florida game?
I have not, but I'm getting ready to ask my uncle for the hookup next year.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Mark goes every year. Mark War, my buddy. They've been going. I don't know that he goes to. I don't know that he goes to Jacksonville, but they go somewhere to watch the game every year. I think
gotcha.
Panama City. I think they used to go to Jacksonville until it got a little bit too crazy and he got a little too old. Have you ever been down there for that, Alan?
No, but a little quick story, if you don't mind, to one of my friends, Robert, I won't say his last name, had gone down there many, many years ago, scalped a $25 ticket for $30, got arrested, and his last words he heard in the prison was a big, big gentleman asking him if he was sweet. So I always remember the Georgia-Florida
You
game.
made $5 off of your ticket.
Yeah.
Give him $5 off your ticket and they threw him in the Hooscalf.
And he's getting ready to set for the bar, so it wasn't a good story to stay at Georgia bar.
I would say that's probably not a good story.
No.
So
Not if you're Robert. Luckily, it wasn't this Robert. This Robert's had enough issues like that.
that's funny.
Fast,
All right. So, yeah, college football, it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing. But I've never heard of anybody getting arrested for scalping a ticket for $5 over the cost of the ticket. 2 minutes? All right. Well, we need to move on. So we'll get them for the next segment. Let's do Modern Image.
Modern Image.
Modern Image.
Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper.
Go Dogs.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't stand that part.
The whole reason why I had to start reading it is because he didn't want to say the end, and now I just make him say the end.
Oh, all right. So we need to get on. Oh, we'll do it now. Alan, let Charlie sit there for just a second.
They're so darn busy around this place.
Yeah,
you
we
just
have to
gotta
take them while we
That's it.
while we can. So we're always happy to be here at Miller's Ale House on Wednesday afternoons to see Bailey and Sean and all our favorite people here at Miller's, including Charlie.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Charlie, how are you today?
Good.
What are you laughing at, Charlie?
Bailey's saying that I'm doing great, so here we are.
Bailey's always laughing.
That's all that matters. Now she's doing Justin Bieber.
So what's going on this week at Miller's Ale House, Charlie?
Nothing much, the same usual stuff going on every day.
Lots of games, lots of
Lots of
TVs,
games, yeah.
Lots of games, lots of people.
happy servers.
Oh, always.
People been in to watch the baseball playoffs?
Yes, and even football. We've had crazy football fans up in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always crazy football fans.
Yeah. So, do you know that KSU is now in the Conference USA? Have you heard that?
Yes, everyone is excited.
It's all a buzz. Everybody
All
is
a
ready about
buzz.
that. So that means bigger stadium. That means
That's
more
awesome.
fans.
Woo.
That means more
Hooty
people
hoo.
coming to Miller's Ale House to drink and give
Hey.
Charlie and Bailey and Sean tips. And that's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. Y'all come on in.
So tell me what's your favorite thing to eat here, Bailey? Charlie.
My favorite thing to eat here, we're talking like appetizers, or what are we talking about?
Favorite
Anything.
thing.
Anything. You pick
That's
it.
hard. That's hard. Okay, probably. This is gonna sound funny, but probably like the meatloaf.
The meatloaf.
It's so good.
Wow.
It is.
So, we asked this question of our guests on the KSU Owl Show coming up at 7 o'clock every Wednesday night here at Miller's. What's your go-to breakfast?
Go to like everything that I eat.
No, just
What's your favorite breakfast?
If it's going to be the best Saturday ever, how does it start?
Okay, a mimosa.
A mimosa for breakfast.
Hey, come on! You said the perfect Saturday.
I did.
Robert
Look.
did. We're right.
Look, okay, mimosa. You gotta have scrambled eggs with cheese, some bacon, and some fried potatoes. Any kind of potatoes.
What time do I show up? That's all I want to know.
Some Angel's Envy?
No, not in the morning.
Sean, do you deliver mimosas to Charlie on Saturday mornings? I'm trying to help you out, Charlie. Trying to get you a Saturday
Thank you.
morning mimosa.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Well, you could have it delivered.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm sure some
Sean will
man
just drop it off.
Some man would like to deliver a mimosa to Charlie on a Saturday morning.
Yes, please.
Do not put that out on social media.
No, do not put
No.
that out on social media.
Just kidding.
Yeah, Bailey's the only one that gets money through social media. We'll talk about that another
Oh
time.
my gosh, she's crazy.
Yeah, and I think you're a very close second. I think you're right behind her.
Maybe
Yep, there you go.
nobody has to know.
We won't tell a soul. That's Charlie, 428. No. All right, Charlie. Well, thanks for sitting in with us, Dawn.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, you guys.
Always
Nice
a
see
pleasure
you.
to be here at Miller's
Yeah.
Ale House and be in your presence.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get Alan back in here,
All
and
right.
we'll move on to the lovely NFL.
Never a dull moment.
Charlie, life is bliss with Charlie. That's all I know.
I was actually referring to the NFL, but
Oh.
yes, with Charlie as
With
well.
Charlie as well. The NFL is never a dull moment in the world. There's a lot of things that happened in the NFL this week. The Falcons got their butt kicked, and I mean kicked. Joe Burrow threw for over 490-something yards. Yeah, I saw that earlier. Yeah. the Eagles traded for Robert Quinn from the Chicago Bears, so they're trying to stiffen up their defense. That's kind of cool. But, man, the Falcons get beat, 35-17, and they're still tied for first place.
But, I'll say this about the Falcons. The Falcons scored 17 unanswered at the end of the first half. So,
Yep.
This is a game that at normal Atlanta history had you losing 48-0. It was better than that. These guys are still not very good, but they are playing for their coach.
They are playing for their coach, and we've talked to that time and time again. Arthur Smith has got these guys playing his game in his style.
Believing.
And he's going to get the players in there to get this thing turned around, I guess is the right thing to do. Speaking of turn around, they turned around from Matt Ryan, who we both thought, I know I did, was going to have a great year at Indianapolis because now he's behind the line that protect him. And
that line is horrible for the first time in 8 years.
In many years. And not only that, Matt Ryan just got benched.
He did. He's got 11 interceptions and 11 fumbles.
I thought it was 9 interceptions.
I think it was 11 and 11.
9 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
But you start thinking about 11. You can't have the same number of fumbles as you do interceptions. And
that's
never
never good.
I don't think he's lost all 11 fumbles, but that line that was so vaunted for so long, they're just not. They're looking pretty rough right up the middle.
It's not the days of Adam Meadows when he used to protect Peyton's backside at McEachern grad. Yeah, it's a different club. It's a different club, and like I said, Tampa Bay got slaughtered by a team that had just traded away their most valuable player, their third-string quarterback, and then Tommy Boy couldn't even get a touchdown. 21-3, wasn't that the final?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. We all love that, right?
We don't like Butch and Brady on this show.
Butch and Brady. Are you a Tom Brady fan?
No, I'm not.
Well, there you go.
No,
so
I'm not.
we're agreeing on something. So that being said, New Orleans took it on the chin from Arizona last Thursday night, right? Carolina beat Tampa Bay in an inter-conference game, inter-division game, and Atlanta took a beating. So 1-3 this week, the NFC South was, but
And they had to win one of those games.
I had to win one of them. But like I said, we're still 3-4, and we're still tied for first place. We play Carolina this weekend, so we've got a chance to
Maintain our divisional lead.
Our divisional lead. I'm not quite sure who Tampa plays this weekend. They may be off. I'm not sure. But
they're not off.
They're not off.
I don't know who they play, but they're not off.
Yeah, I know. I know Tom had a really rough day. It's got to be the first time in years he hadn't thrown a touchdown pass. And Green Bay was horrible as well. They got beat by the Commanders in Washington with your boy, Tyler Heineke, throwing the Packers under the bus.
Hey, at the end of the day, going back to the Carolina game, when they traded McCaffrey, you figured, okay, this team might be tanking on purpose. They're giving away their only thing. No, this team, Tampa's not good. Green Bay is not good. If you have the word Bay, actually Baylor, I wouldn't bet for them either, because anybody who's got a Bay is not playing really good.
And if you're talking about football, yes, because the Lightning, pretty good hockey team, but yeah.
Not at this point of the season. They're not started.
Yeah. Have they not started? No, they've started.
No, they start out in like another few weeks.
Oh, I watched the Avalanche play, and that must have been a preseason game.
I think it's preseason.
Okay, preseason. All right, cool. So that being said, Tampa Bay's doesn't have an offensive line. They can't run the ball. Fournette's not doing anything. New Orleans is not going to do anything. The Panthers aren't going to do. All we got to do, Adam, the intern, was telling me the only two games we have that we shouldn't be able to win were at Baltimore, and what was the other one? Arizona. They play at Arizona or home against Arizona. So, but we should beat Charlotte twice, or Carolina. The Chargers. Yeah, Chargers have all beat up. Everybody, Keenan Allen, my second-round draft pick from my fantasy league, hasn't played since week 1. He played the first quarter, and he hadn't played since. Mike Williams is now out for the year. Ekelar's hurt. and I don't know what Justin Herbert's doing, but he's not having a good year. So I think our chances to get the Chargers are not that bad. I guess the Cardinals go as Tyler Murray goes. So we've got a shot.
Or his cousin Kyler.
Yeah, that's the one, Kyler Murray. Yeah. Well, I said
Kyler
Tyler.
and- Kyler and his cousin
whatever.
Tyler.
Yeah. So, have you been to a Falcons game yet, Alan?
This year?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, it's
Okay.
been a few years.
Yeah. Like I said, I was invited to go Sunday, and I'd like to go if I wasn't committed to seeing Georgia Tech and KSU play baseball Sunday. But I guess I will go to that. But I guess the other big controversy in the NFL is a lot of quarterback challenges going up there. We got Cooper and Dak in Dallas. I know you were happy with that game this weekend. 28-6, is that was it? 20-something 6. 24-6. Yeah. 24-6 against the hapless Lions. And I thought were going to be pretty good. They were scoring a lot of points earlier in the year.
The first 4 weeks they were, and boy, ever since they stopped, they really stopped.
They just stopped. DeAndre Swift was out.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and their number one wide receiver, St. Ramon or whatever his name was, out. Amon St. something. He was out too. So Detroit's fallen on hard times, or fallen back to hard times, because they've been on hard time.
Yeah, I
for
don't
a
think they ever
long,
left
long
that
time.
neighborhood.
No, but they do get to play on Thanksgiving Day. So
There you
congratulations for that. Them and the Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving Day. So
Let me ask you this. Let me stop you right there.
ask me whatever you want to ask me, right?
I'm going to ask you your own dang question. Rodgers or Brady? Who's got the best chance at making the playoffs?
If I said neither one of them, would you disagree with me?
No, in the immortal words of Geddy Lee, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. So, hey.
I'm making a choice. Unless the Green Bay trades, the deadline's this week, isn't it? Unless they trade and
Coming
get a
up.
wide receiver. I know Sammy Watkins is back now. Dobbs, your boy, is not really catching on. I saw
0 targets, 0 catches. Yeah, I'd
Is-
call that not catching on.
Yeah, I do say that. And I saw Aaron Rodgers badmouth a couple of the receivers to their own receivers, like, "Come on, you got to be kidding me," or something. Catch the effing ball or something like that. So Green Bay's in a world of hurt. I think Minnesota's going to win that division. The only way Tommy, what do you call him, Tommy
Butch and Brady?
Bunch and Brady is going to make it is if the Falcons just collapse and Tampa slides into that winning the NFC South. But I'm going to take the Falcons. I don't think Green Bay is going to make the playoffs, and I don't think Tommy's going to make the playoffs. And I think this is Tom's last year, and I've said that enough times, many years. But he just doesn't look like he's in this. He
No.
just doesn't look like he's in it. When I watched him a little bit on Sunday against Carolina, it just looked like he didn't care. I mean, I know he said after the game, "I'll never quit. I'm not a quitter. I'll never quit." But I think he quit.
No, he hasn't looked good. His body language has looked bad all year, and they're not a good team. I think when you secretly believe that you're going to be in the Super Bowl or make a big run in the playoffs, it's okay to take your lumps in week 4 and week 6. I think he's sitting out in the middle of that field thinking, we don't have a chance, and I'm going to get murdered over the next 3 months. So
I totally agree. And like him taking Saturday off because he had to go do something last week, the day before the game. You just don't do that when you're into your team and you're
you
supporting
don't do
your team.
that, period,
Yeah.
in the
Unless
world of
you're
professional
45 years
sports.
old and you've won 7 rings and you just don't care anymore. And that's my point. I just think he's beyond caring about football. I think I'm still trying to figure out why he came back. I don't think Gronk's coming back. Gronk's got a great job on Fox calling ball games or commenting on ball games during the pregame show. So I think Tom is toast.
Yeah, I don't I don't like either one of them going forward. I think both these teams are garbage fire, but I do think the Buccaneers will win the division, make sure the Falcons don't make the playoffs so we get a better draft pick next year. And but I don't see with the Vikings ahead of the Packers, there's too many people they're going to have to pass over to get there. I don't think it'll happen.
So you don't? Oh, you think Tampa will make the playoffs? You don't think
Tampa
Green Bay
will
does?
win the division. Green Bay will not, because at this point in time, I don't think they'll catch the Vikings, and I think the wild card's going to have way too many teams between the Giants and the Cowboys and somebody from out west. You know, there's
The NFC is up for grabs, is it not? I mean, it really is. The AFC is. It's going to be Kansas City or Buffalo. I hate to tell you, but it's going to be Kansas City or Buffalo. And the NFC, like I said, is up for grabs. The Giants look good. Barkley's running the rock. Daniel Jones, who I know you're not a big fan of, is
awful.
Is not great, but they're winning. They're 6-1 now, right?
all right. So I got a couple Giant stats for you. Ready?
Okay, shoot me up.
The Giants have trailed in 5 fourth quarters this year. They're 4-1 in those games. You know, those are stats. Tom Brady in his heyday doesn't get that. Peyton Manning doesn't get that. You don't, 7 weeks into the season, you've been trailing in 5 different games in the fourth quarter, and you've won almost all of them. Smoke and mirrors. It's amazing what the Giants have done so far. But I looked up some stuff because I wanted to make fun of Jacksonville. So my question for you, what I looked up was 300-yard passing games. Trevor Lawrence had one this past weekend. It was only his first of this year, third of his career. Do you know how many 300-yard passing games Mr. Jones has had?
0.
5 in his rookie season, and only once since that rookie year. That was a 400-yard game, though. So, here's a guy who we all pretty much agree, outside of his Nana and his Pop, that he's not a very good quarterback in the NFL.
And yet some people are screaming to sign him for long term.
Those people, you know all about those people. They're from Staten Island.
Or from Duke.
Or from Duke.
Or
No,
from
actually,
Duke.
the people from Duke are way too good with their money. They know not to spend that.
And he's one of my oldest son's buddies, so I have to say go for him.
Daniel Jones is one of your buddies. That's right. I think
Yeah.
they played ball together somewhere along the line.
Knew each other from college.
Yeah, knew each other from college. That's pretty cool. All right, I guess we need to get into our NFL picks because we're only down to about 8 minutes.
But just one more to make fun of Trevor for. Tyler Heineke.
Oh, jeez.
He's got 2 300-yard games, and one of them was in the playoffs. Playoffs? But, at the end of the day, Trevor's just not taking that next step that the entire world thought was going to happen.
All right, let's get on to the pros. Charlotte, or Carolina, I guess, is the appropriate name of the team. They are getting 4.5 at Atlanta this Sunday. I'm going to take the Falcons. Just straight up. So I think they're going to lay it to them.
Straight up, you don't want the points?
No.
Oh, that's not what you meant.
No.
Okay. I'll
No.
take the Panthers.
You'll take the Panthers and the points.
Yes, I will.
All right. Mr. Allen?
I'll take the Falcons. I hear Carolina lost a running back.
Yeah, that didn't hurt him this week, but with a week to replace, and Dean Pease, I'm so over Dean Pease and what a great job he is as a defensive coordinator, and then gives up 480-something yards to Joe Burrow. So,
But, you talk about swagger. When you're looking at that Bengals team, just for the record, the Bengals defense has not given up a touchdown in the second half this year. 7 straight games of no touchdowns in the second half. Only the 3rd time it's been done in the last 50 years. And when you look at Joe Cool, and I know everybody uses way too many of those references with him, he's going naked backfield 5 wide. Come and get me. You can't get me. I know where I'm going with it.
he's got a lot of
He can't
weapons. Chase, Boyd,
and he's got the
Mixon.
swagger to get it to him.
Yeah, he does. He does. And so, like they're playing defense in the second half, the Giants are playing offense. Saquon Barkley seems like he's struggling in the first half, when in the second half, give me the rock. Give me the rock. So,
Giants are going to need a wide receiver if they're going to
probably so.
think of anything.
All right. Chicago plus 9.5 at Dallas.
I don't say this very
I put that in
often.
there for you, Adam.
I'll take the Cowboys.
After the other night, I'm going to have to take the Bears plus the points.
The Bears.
I'm guessing we're going to watch the third best defense in the NFL dismantled the running game of Chicago, and it'll be what you thought you were going to watch on Monday night,
Yeah, which we did. Well,
which you didn't see.
Which you didn't
You
see,
saw
yeah.
Fields run wild.
Fields ran wild, and their defense played really well. They picked off 3 interceptions, some from Jones, some from Zappi. We didn't get to talk about Zappi and Jones, which is a shame. We'll get into that next week maybe. But I'll take the Bears. Robert takes Cowboys. Alan takes the Bears. Pittsburgh plus 11 at Philly in the Battle of Pennsylvania. Well, they got a new defensive back now, or defensive lineman, the Phillies in Quick, so I'm going to take Philly.
I'll take Philly as well.
I don't like little hands. He's not looking good. You know, when Pickett was drafted, I've never heard this about a single quarterback. And I know they measure everything, but the second he was drafted, they said, he has the smallest hands in professional football now for a quarterback. And you start thinking about, well, Doug Flutie was really good. Flutie had bigger hands than his size would have led you to believe. They looked awful. I went to a buddy's house. Thank you, Evan, for all you do for me. And watched that game on Sunday night. They looked bad, and I don't see the Steelers getting better anytime soon.
So you taking Philly as well?
I'm taking Philly.
Philly across the board. San Francisco minus 1.5 at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are kind of a dumpster fire.
They
have hit the bottom.
They have, but boy, if ever there was a week where you say, okay, the defending champ better wake up, it's this week. I don't think they will, though. I'll take San Fran.
I'll take San Fran as well.
San Fran as well.
I think an extra week with McCaffrey, you're just going to see him in a few. I expect Debo Samuel to go off one of these next 2 weeks, and it'll be one of those things where McCaffrey's just running decoys everywhere.
Well, and you know what? And if they double Samuel, this Brandon Ayuk is a pretty good little wide receiver.
He's got speed.
He scored 2 against the Falcons a couple of weeks ago, and he's doing all right. So I think San Francisco's got some weapons for Garoppolo to choose from, and I think adding McCaffrey is going to make them stronger because now they load up the box, stop McCaffrey. He's got 2 wideouts that are pretty good. Not to mention George Kittle.
Well,
that's pretty damn good tight end. Yeah.
I think Kittle and Samuel, McCaffrey just opens up the entire playbook for them.
I would agree. All right, in our last game of the week, we're going to pick the Giants plus 3 again. They're underdogs again.
Is that the New York Football Giants?
That's the New York Football Giants.
It was the Jets that have been underdogs every week.
But the Giants were underdogs last week at Jacksonville.
They've
been
been underdogs a lot.
They've been underdogs a lot. And that being said, I'm going to take the Giants again. What's the significance of this game, Robert? Can you tell me the significance of the game?
Seattle could be leading the division.
Yeah. Any clues?
Not a one.
This is the only game in the NFL this week that 2 teams with 2 winning records are playing each other.
How about that?
It's the only game in the NFL, Seattle and the Giants.
And if you'd have gone to Vegas with $500 a couple months ago and told them, I want to bet that there will be the only 2, they'd have chased you.
You'll have an
Kid,
island in
keep your
Tahiti.
money. Keep your money, kid.
Yeah,
You're the
don't
dumbest
lose
kid
your
we've
money.
ever seen.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the New York Football Giants and Saquon Barkley.
Hey, I don't blame you. I'm going opposite of that because I don't go New York Giants.
Oh, so you're going Seattle just because you don't do Giants?
Just because the Giants, they look like garbage. I've never seen a team win more outside of like maybe a Big Ten team when their offense looked this bad.
Yep. Alan, your last pick.
I'll go with the Giants.
Alan's going to go with the New York Giants as well. All right. So we got a couple of minutes left. Real quick, Alan, since we were not going to have you on before football's out again, give me your Super Bowl champ.
I would love to see Buffalo.
Buffalo. All right. I'm writing it down in my notes here. And how about college football? Who's going to win the national championship? And don't say Appalachian State. They're not going to make the playoff.
I know, a little bit biased there. Gosh, at this point right now, I'm going to go back with Georgia.
I knew that one was coming.
I did too. I was afraid of. So there we go. We don't have to make our picks because we're here every week.
We do. Hey, I got an interesting stat for you. When McCaffrey got traded, I read the stat that He has the most. He's in 4th place all time for most total yards in a game, minimum of 65 of them being played. So he's
Okay.
got an average of like 114 yards. Who are the top 3? And you could probably read on my big
Not with
screen
my
here.
glasses. My glasses. on. So the top 3. Give me the stat again.
Most scrimmage yards, regular season and playoffs combined, at least 65 games played. So you can play for a year or two, but there's one name that just really jumped off to me that I wouldn't have gotten. Barry Sanders is number 3
That was going to be one of my guesses.
with 117. Jim Brown would have been.
Thought about him.
I'd have got that one. It was 124 yards.
Not the
You know,
Jews.
no, it's not. You know who it is?
LaDainian Tomlinson.
It's Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis when he was
You know-
with
you
the
know,
Broncos.
When he was with the
should have known
Broncos,
it had
you
a
know,
Georgia
but,
tie.
but for former Georgia guy, second all time in most scrimmage yards per game in history. It's like just you look at it and you're like, how is that possible? You know, you think the Juice, you think Emmett,
Tomlinson, Dickerson.
Payton,
I mean,
Dickerson, so many.
there are so many great running backs.
Terrell Davis.
All right, well, we'll leave you with that interesting stat from Robert for the week. Guys, thank you for being here. Alan, thanks for being with us today. Thanks for showing up at Miller's House.
Thank you very much.
It
Go
was a
Avs.
blast. And we will be seeing you next week. And don't forget, if you want to be a part of this show, that's text 1-470-7-SPORTS, 470-7-SPORTS. Tell us what your strengths are, your weaknesses are, and we'd love to get you on the show and talk some sports. So until then, Robert, we'll see you at 7. Alan, we'll see you next time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great week.